And today we are joined by Brianna Benson, and we are going to be talking about single parenting. So, Brianna, thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to jump right in here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your family?
Yeah. So a little bit more about me. I was married at 22. I had Silas whenever I was 23 and was divorced at 25. So with that changing dynamics, moving households, I moved in with my mother and I lived with my mom for 6 years. A lot of changing and stretching in that time, being Silas was with me 100% of the time. So learning a lot about myself and learning how to parent as an individual. In that time too, also seeing that I had opportunities for intermittent dating at times, but was not having a lot of success looking for relationships that didn't always fit, like they weren't always Christian as well.
So how have you seen God at work in your parenting?
So I grew up in a Presbyterian church, and I had several different church experience while I was growing up. But as a single mom, I put a tremendous amount of pressure on myself. I felt a lot of judgment with whatever was happening, whether we walked in late, and I felt like I was interrupting or being nervous about how my child was acting during the service. But when I moved to State College, I was very thankful that I had friends and family welcome me into churches there, and it felt a lot different. It felt like, we could walk in, the music was going on, and we weren't interrupting. We could make noise, and it really felt like that children were more welcomed than being an interruption. So for myself, I realized in that moment and just getting to watch other church families that I was putting a lot more pressure on myself. I was judging myself much more harshly than even God would have been judging me. And there's definitely been hard seasons for our family where I could have been a lot harder on myself. And that's where I have seen God act in a lot of tangible ways, whether that is through signs, through provisions, through a miraculous healing after I had a really terrible fall. And he showed up in a lot of different ways to just bring that peace and that presence into our family. Additionally, I realized that a lot of the stress that I put on myself as a parent wasn't just a single parent issue. It was problems or issues that other parents were experiencing it as well. And I was just going through it individually. So there are times where, maybe I was struggling with listening or communication with my child. And instead of in that moment reflecting God's peace or the communication of Jesus, I would be reactive. And that's a really easy time to be hard on yourself. You think back and you're like, oh my goodness, I am not showing and demonstrating love as Jesus would. And I could get really hard on myself for that. But in the book of Matthew, it shares to forgive 7 times 7. And I could do that for others, but I would never do that for myself. I would keep tabs of every time that I was more reactive than I wanted to be. And that wasn't helpful. So just releasing that in the ways that I've been able to share and connect with different families here at the church to share honestly what I'm going through and be able to seek other parental guidance.
So, Brianna, are there some intentional things that you do to help manage your child living between two homes?
So Silas lived with me 100% for the first 7 years, and then we've had some dynamic changes. Silas now spends more time with his mother, his father, his father's stepmother, and a little sister. And in that time, whenever he isn't in my house, there's a lot of stress that I feel just in physically he's not there, or emotionally, just going through what that change of motherhood looks like. So for me, being intentional, feeling like I'm making connections with him while I have that time. Recently, we started a bingo card for 2025.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask about too, is how do you make those special times of connection with him?
Yep. So we did a bingo card which had 25 squares on it, and in the 25 squares there were different categories. Some were personal development, some were spiritual development, fun things we wanted to do together, or even just reading a book series. And with the bingo card, we set a goal that if we completed all of the items together, then we would treat ourselves to a ski trip. So December 31st, the end of the year, whenever we wanted to have it done in January, we were still working through some of those bingo squares, but it was a great time for us to learn about how we could communicate. So even though there was a deadline, we could communicate about the deadline. And by the first week of January, we had it all completed. So we did treat ourselves and go to, we had a marvelous trip to Colorado. And we were very excited to have that time to, one, get to great skiing, and two, get to invest in a hobby that we both enjoy together.
That's great. Sounds like you are also a very intentional parent in the things that you're doing. Is there a word of encouragement that you would like to give to any other single parents?
My encouragement would be that you don't have to do it alone. Even as a single person, you still have a community that is there to support you. Reaching out and sharing maybe whatever struggles that you are having, likely someone else is experiencing the same thing. We don't have to do it alone. Additionally, whenever I moved from into my mother's house, I had 6 beautiful years with her before she had passed. And I can look back at those times now and I think, wow, those were the good old days. But I know that in the moment, I didn't want to release control and get that support that I absolutely needed at the time. Additionally, I was looking ahead of, well, once this happens, then I will be happy. Or once these other things change or dynamics or look different, I would be happy. But I look back on those now and I wish I would have stayed in the moment. I wish I would have appreciated all that I had, and not be waiting for the next thing. So enjoy the season, because the children grow up, they get taller than you, which is weird. They sit next to you in the front seat of the car. That's weird too. So enjoy that time while they're little.
That's great. Thank you for coming and sharing with us today. Can we give Brianna a hand?